Meal prep. Let's go back to our definitions. A meal prep is the basic practice of preparing the key elements of a dish. This I got from the Good Housekeeping. They have an article called A Beginner's Guide on How to Prep Meals for the Week. So they said...
Not the week of mind.
Yeah, not the week of mind, but the week. WEEK. They said think of grains, roasted veggies, and cooked protein, or even the entire recipe before you plan to eat it. They said this is a smart meal planning method that gives you a head start on the week, and it can lead to faster, healthier, stress-free eating. And I agree with that, because if I plan my meals out, it's definitely stress-free.
Yes, it stresses me out to stand in the kitchen and not know what to make and try and figure out what ingredients go with what if I didn't plan.
Yeah, I did not plan very well. I guess it was this last week, and my husband's like, so what's for dinner? And I was like, oh, I don't know, frozen chicken nuggets at this point. I think I have some dinosaur-shaped nuggets. And he's like, gross. I don't disagree with him. The kids like them, but we are not fans. And I was like, I don't know. I'm sure I can come up with something. And we actually had frozen pizza in the fridge, so it worked out. But, like, that's not very unlike me. But I was busy, stressed, and so the things did not get done the week on Sunday and Saturday like they normally do for the entire rest of the week. So I failed in that respect. But it's okay. I'm ready.
Complete failure. You had something in the freezer.
I always have food. It's just not food that we all want to eat. And I get it. But you have to usually go grocery shopping at least once a week for the ingredients for your weekly meals because you're thinking of fresh, not frozen usually. I mean, I've bought the Stouffer lasagnas when they're on sale. They've gotten ridiculously high. I can't just go buy one anymore. But I used to buy them more often to always have one in the freezer. But they take like an hour and a half to cook. So you kind of have to be willing to wait that hour and a half to eat those lasagnas. But I mean, you could do something like that.
Those lasagnas.
Like that can be a type of meal prep. But usually it's fresh ingredients. Like you're picking out your meat for the week. You're picking out your veggies for the week. Wine to pair with your meals if you're me for the week. That's an important part of my grocery shopping, okay? It's important.
And I find that, a lot of people that I've spoken to in the past about meal prepping, because I've been meal prepping literally forever. Because, again, I lived in West Texas for a time, and it's just what you did. A lot of times you had to travel once a month or once every couple of weeks to a grocery store. So it's a little different on prepping. But one of the key advice I have, being more of an eclectic cook, kind of like you, I like to cook different things. I don't like having the same type of meal every week. That's just not me. And so, like, if I have more, like, Mediterranean-style ideas, then I push them all together where I kind of have the same types of ingredients in the fridge. So, like, if I'm doing a lot of Mexican dishes, I'm going to have cilantro. I'm going to have... And it also cuts down on waste, I feel like.
Yeah, because you're on a theme.
Yes.
With your food, and so you just it helps because you're using all the same similar ingredients on every meal, even though you're cooking a chicken dish
and
or
it's
a
completely
beef dish
different
or a pork dish, and they taste different, but you're using the same ingredients, and I think that's very smart because you're not having to go back and buy some weird ingredient you're only going to use on that one dish. And I hate doing that.
Buy enough ricotta cheese for 3 lasagnas and only make one.
Yeah, you don't want to be that person.
So if it's Italian week,
you better really like lasagna. So, you can cook all week, or you can plan to cook everything in one night, is how they usually do it. Because when they're talking meal prep, they're talking of as everything is pre-made and ready to go. Where when I think of meal prep, I have everything ready to go for each dish that I plan to cook every night.
Right, so like you cut your veggies and have them stored, ready to go, but not cooked.
Not cooked. That's how I do it. Everybody's different. But the way they're describing it is that they want you to either have everything cut, prepared, and ready to go. And like, I've seen it online where they're like, I threw all of the veggies for the roast in with the roast, and I set it to marinate overnight. And the next morning I get up and I throw it all in the oven, and it cooks, and we have a meal.
I love one-dish meals.
I love one-dish meals.
Like that little noise. That's 100% how I feel every time I make a one-dish meal.
Yeah. So, or they're saying you can go ahead and you can cook everything everything can be cooked. So they're thinking of like you're storing it in individual containers. Like, so you have cooked chicken for the entire week, or maybe 3 days. Let's say we're not going to eat chicken every day.
I feel like most of the time I cook for about 3 days at a time.
Yeah, and then you take it and you like divide it out, right? Like you're like, okay, this chicken goes with this chicken goes with this, and this chicken goes with this.
That's exactly how I cook.
Yeah, so I do that with chicken breasts. Like I cook everything at once, but then they get stored differently so that I can use them.
2 chicken breasts per
type
of flavor.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly how I like to do it. They also say that you should plan it, and they said this looks like writing down your meals for the week to help keep your family on track. So you can whiteboard it, you can notebook it,
which also saves money because you lose less ingredients.
Yeah, so you know, like you've planned everything out, right? Like, you know, Monday night we're going to do meatloaf, and we're going to do a side of mashed potatoes, and then on Tuesday we're going to have spaghetti and whatever. Yeah, I'm making crap up. Those are main food sources for us. I love meatloaf and I love spaghetti, so I'm always down for those. Those are generally cooked at least once a week, but they're easy meals that we have all the ingredients for at all times because I know we're going to cook them all the time.
What I've found is one of the easier things to make for quick fix is pizza. Do you know how easy it is to make pizza dough?
You know, I
never made pizza dough
but
until this year.
And
this year, I just started making it, and it comes out great every single time. And it's just a basic yeast dough.
So I'm going to need you to share that recipe with me because I literally had that thought process the other day.
I probably make it different every single time, but it comes out great.
I'm like, why am I not making my own pizza? I literally have 4 frozen pizzas sitting in my freezer because I like to have meals just because.
See, and that's how I always was. And but y'all are hearing the astounding in my voice because it absolutely was astounding me. I always just bought frozen pizza or bought
why not
at least the dough and just had it in the fridge. But no, it's so easy to make. It's just a yeast dough.
Okay, I need that recipe because I literally had this thought. Like, I bought mozzarella cheese and I was like, ooh, we could make pizza because I bought the cheese because it's on sale. And I was like, ooh, we could make like little mini pizzas because the kids like doing that. They like making their own pizzas and crap. I've done it on biscuits and stuff.
Well, it's kind of like an art project, right? Because you get to make your own.
Yeah, they love making a mess in the kitchen. But anyway, they say you can just dive in and prep the meals for 1 week, or just dive in and you prep the meals for weeks at a time. Like apparently there's some websites out there that will teach you how to prep for like a month.
Yeah, I've definitely visited those frequently.
Oh, yeah.
And they're great. And they come up with great recipes. A lot of them are soups, stews, things that are like
freezable,
easily freezable, and also are hearty. We used to do a lot of that during like wintertime.
Yeah. I don't ever think of that. Like, I should think of that more, but I don't know if it's because we eat so fast. Like, I feel like we go through a lot of food. Like, we don't have leftovers, generally speaking.
You remember back in the day when we were both preggers?
Yes.
And we were like, oh, we're going to prep all of our baby's food ourselves.
We did have
together.
This exact conversation.
And we tried to meet up, and then we would look at it and go, this is some bullshit. Like, these moms are so good at this, but we're not.
Yeah.
It seems so simple. But then we got scared that there was going to be bacteria in it, and we psyched ourselves out.
That is exactly what happened.
We're like, this is
guess
scary.
What our babies got? They got either table scraps. Yeah, let's
little
be honest.
Pieces off of our meals.
Yeah, they got table scraps, or they got the jarred food because I was like, no, this is at least somebody else's problem if it's not done right.
We started reading some of those like turkey recipes, and they're like, well, it's not technically like written, but this is how we do it. And we're like,
nope. Scratch that.
I am not possibly giving my kids some kind of bacteria from a turkey.
Yeah, canning food is actually, you have to be very careful and precise with it. So, it's not for everybody. I'm canning my own jelly, and I've made pickles in the past. We can a lot of peppers.
But that's also a lot of science, you know?
It's so much science. It's so much science. But anyway, it's definitely easier to freeze meals that you can just pull out, thaw, and eat.
Heck yeah.
I like ones that I can throw like in a saucepan to like soups and stuff. Like I'm all about the Sam's Club stuff.
Yeah.
That you can just pull it out, heat it up, and throw it in a saucepan, and ta-da!
I'll let you know one thing. Don't get fresh corn and then vacuum seal it and then put it in the freezer because the little kernels turn to mush.
Oh, do they?
That's what I found. Either that or I'm doing it wrong. So I guess I recommend freezing it first and then putting it in a vacuum sealer bag and then vacuum sealing it and then put it back in the freezer.
Okay. Well, I have corn I'm cooking.
We'll test it. We'll test it and get back to you and see if that method works. I don't know.
Yeah.
The other method sucked for me, so.
All right, we're going to try it. We're going to test this out.
Anyway.
I know sometimes this can sound like a lot because we are throwing like a lot of ideas at you, right? But they were like, you can do it like prepping 2 to 3 days at a time. You don't have to do a week. I mean, we do weeks. I do a week at a time. I don't do weeks. I can't think that far in advance. But I can do a week at a time. But some people, maybe that's too much information. And so maybe you got to do 2 to 3 days. That's still meal prepping. Like, I don't want you to, like, downplay your part in this. But it can be this. It's the same thing. It's a happy medium, right?
So I do a lot of wheat preps, but then I cook every 2 to 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I cook multiple meals because, again, I don't like eating the same thing over and over again. And so what I like to do is mix up what I have for lunch versus what I have for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So then every other meal is different.
Yeah, that's a nice way to do it. My husband recently got into meal prepping our lunches because he thought maybe we shouldn't eat peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day. That's what we eat like almost every single fucking day.
It works.
It works. You get your protein, you get fruits and veggies.
Those little tiny baby pepper things that you love.
Yeah.
I love those things too.
Yeah, I get
little
those.
baby peppers, you put them in a Ziploc baggie.
So he's really big on like us eating healthy. I appreciate it. I love him for those reasons. But he recently got into meal prepping our lunches, and so he bought the containers that are divided. They got the little dividers in them. There's a term they use for those, but I can't think of what they're called right now. But they're divided. It's got the divider in it, and you put the protein and your grain dish in one side and usually your veggies on the other side because you don't want things to get soggy and gross when they sit together. Yeah. And he'll cook, like on a Sunday night, he'll grill up a bunch of chicken, he'll dice it all up, he measures it all out, cooks whatever side goes with it or the veggies that he's putting in there, and it'll be a little container. And so in the Monday morning, all he's got to do is go, take your lunch, and he just throws a little pack. Now for the kids, we have to pre-warm it if they want one because they don't have microwaves at their schools. Not a big deal. We wrap them in foil. Guess what? They still have a warm lunch they eat at like 11 and 11:30, I think. So you can still do stuff like that. Like, that works.
I found a super cool thing that's on Amazon. I got it for my husband because he's mostly in a car. And so when we have it's the same thing. It's got like a little metal dish inside of it.
Yeah.
But you pack that and prepare it, and then he just takes it and puts it in this little tiny cooler-sized machine. And it's like a crock pot, kind of, but it doesn't get as hot.
Yeah.
And it plugs into the car or the wall. And it just...
And he gets a hot meal.
It slowly heats up. Now, it takes a hot minute, but...
He can have a hot meal.
He can have a hot meal. And I think that was, like, a turning point in me being able to prep his lunches.
Well, yeah, because then you're like, I can send him with a nice,
I sent him with so many salads and sandwiches. Like, you don't even know the amount of tuna that man has eaten.
I do love tuna, but I get it.
But it was really nice when I found that. And it was on Amazon. It wasn't expensive. I think it was like $20-$30.
Mm-hmm. For a little car heating up
it's
food
so
system.
Cool. Now, I don't know what it's called, so good luck finding it. But it works great. Highly recommended. That thing, I don't know what it's called.
But you're on that topic. I love crock pot meals, which is how I have my roast cooking right now, is in my crock pot. I love the simplicity of a crock pot meal because I can literally put it together the night before, in the morning pull it out of the fridge, throw it in the container, the crock pot container, set it on low, leave for work, come home, and a hot meal is ready to go. And nobody has to you don't have to be like, hey, honey, when you get home, can you do this and this to get dinner ready? No, because it's done. It's done and ready to go. So when we get back this evening, because Rosie and I are going to go to a wine party. When we get back this evening,
let's go party.
We are going to have roast ready to go because I didn't have to do anything this morning. Actually,